So with regards to the shape of the Earth, I never thought about it as I worked for 24 years. You didn't say, wait a minute, I think that target is too low for me to see at that distance. Nobody ever even thinks about that. But in reality, now knowing what must be if we live on a ball, the fact is that at even just 180 miles, any airplane below 26,000 feet, if the radar can see it, the Earth is not a ball, period. End of story. And does that happen very often? 1,000 times plus a day. 1,000 times plus a day, somebody calls up, somebody coming from offshore. There's a whole class of aircraft that are not pressurized. They can't fly above 11,000 feet. The pilot will pass out. So they operate at and below 10,000 feet, no matter what. And no matter what the weather is, they just can't operate up there. And there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of these airplanes still operating all the time. And so they'd be coming in at 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 feet from like Bermuda or beyond and say 180 miles from Miami. And I said, Roger. And every time they do that, they prove the Earth is flat. And they don't know it, but it's absolute undeniable proof. 26,000, and at 200 miles, 29,000. I mean, there's a lot of commercial flights are never at 29,000 coming in from 200 miles out. So, over and over.
Pretty damning.
Yeah, because it's a practical implementation that's used every day. Now, the only gripe I would have is just the labeling flat Earth, right? Because flat can exist on this wall,
right?
The
scale.
It's all, and also Earth is a pre-programmatic term that conjures associations in the mind. We've dealt with this, but it is absolute mathematical, empirical, professional proof of a non-spherical level realm. That's true, because the whole sphericity calculation is
disproves the presupposition of the 26,000 mile
correct
circumference Earth, or whatever the exact number is immaterial. They've done the math, and
that's why the whole,
even if there's a margin of error of,
it's not that big of an error.
It's not that big of an error.
No. And I mean, if you look at all of the Air Force documents, if you look at even NASA documents,
you assume
a non-rotating level ground at all times, in all places, over all distances and durations. Okay, you can't magically turn that into an antipodal orb. Okay, it's just mathematically impossible.
Unless we're an orb of some
gargantuan millions of miles. I mean, but the problem even with that is the vastness of the oceans would still, we would have to be in a teeny, like basically like we have to be in a teeny little divot on a golf ball, basically, in order for it for us to still try to cling to this orbs in the void cosmology. But the fact is, the actual on the ground data in no way verifies contiguous rotundity commensurate with the curvature calculus of 26,000 miles. It just simply isn't there.
But you can't keep a secret that big.
You can't keep a secret that big. 700 people could never be pressured or coerced or voluntarily commit to a deception ever. Yeah, it says.
Are you still rescuing those people that are stuck in the space station?
Yeah, that's coming up in a couple weeks, I think.
How long, Jamie, they were supposed to be there?
They were supposed to be up there for like 8 days.
Yeah.
And they've been up there for like 8 months. And we offered to bring them back early. This offer was rejected by the Biden administration.
Why?
And there's no way that they're going to make anyone who's supporting Trump look good.
What do you think they would have done if they had won?
They pushed the return date past the inauguration date.
Are you still rescuing?
Nice hairspray job.
This is where we've talked about the false critique.
It's
the false critique. Like, this kind of stuff
and the passing
is
of
the most
evidentiary
content I can imagine to suggest that he's not a trustworthy person. you know, the fakery, the involvement in this high level, like you're saying, 700 people ever, you know, that he's the paper richest man in the world is like secondary,
right,
to these kind of industries where we're talking about mass deception. And people really believe that you could have a mission. So you're telling me two things that contradict each other at the same time must be true. Like, to make space economical, we have to like freeze dry, you know, ice cream, and you'll be pissing in a bag that, you know, you recycle into your own drinking water and all this. They were supposed to be there for 8 days, and now they can just chill up there for 8 months.
And they left how many bags of poop on the moon?
Right. Well, I guess the innovation that our tax money is going to fund is poop. Well, how come I don't have a poop recycler in my house yet?
Right.
That was innovated by NASA.
That-
It's probably not economical, but no, it's just a crazy scenario and it seems like a Hollywood script. And
yeah,
you know, he does these PR things where the opposition, the Pepsi, as it were, you know, they didn't want to give me that opportunity to look good because I supported Trump. And it's like, that's just too convenient.
sure.
That's the corruption we're dealing with, is we're playing with astronauts' lives.
We're playing with astronauts' lives because of a ceremonial popularity contest here on the ground. Right.
And by the way, there's no advanced breakthrough propulsion technologies.
Nothing.
His defense or his argument rather, that there were no breakthroughs is that he has the most advanced rocket technology. And it's like,
Rocket technology hasn't improved basically since it was developed by Jack Parsons, right? I mean, it's basically larger missiles pointed vertically.
it's like
Large missiles pointed vertically. I mean, the whole ballistics concept behind that's the whole funny thing. Like, well, rocket science. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand. It's like there's actually not a whole lot of rocket science. There's not a lot of science behind rocketry. It's basically
maybe that's why they say
ballistics
it.
and pyrotechnics. And as I mentioned before, he's doing selective cleavering of low hanging fruit. He's not going after the seed monies that are now in the thousands of percentage of growth in these big tech firms. Similarly, he doesn't know what's going on at all the deep underground military facilities. He doesn't have instantaneous and perpetual access to all of these black sites at the same time. He doesn't know all kinds of stuff. Okay, but he's pretending like he knows everything. That's what's so disingenuous about Musk, is he pretends like he knows everything. Basically.
And if you've ever met anybody with a security clearance, you know that they do not tell you the truth,
and that
they're sworn to secrecy.
It's an NDA, or they're just going along with the program and think that they have the noblesse oblige.
They can be deceived by their own compartmentalization.
Precisely.
And also deluded into thinking that they know a lot more than they actually do.
Right.
And it's like this whole canard of the security clearance. Like, I have an all access pass. And it's like, bro, what about all the testimony from people who say that, there are levels above top secret security clearance?
Yeah, that have nothing to do with the government, or at least the state.
Unless I was an act deliberately planted there.
Bing, bing, bing.
That's the only reason why I would feel confident. Otherwise, he's so full of chutzpah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see on his response that he's trying to concoct a plausible deniability explanation as he's being asked.
Yeah, his eyebrows.
Like
he's licking his lips.
Let's see, what was that Neil deGrasse Tyson? Oh yeah. Are the footage of the aliens high res? You know, that's a great plausible deniability